Princess Catherine did not simply attend the German State Banquet, she redefined it. On the evening of December 3, 2025, under the golden glow of St. George's Hall in Windsor Castle, the Princess of Wales delivered what many are already calling her most iconic appearance of the decade. From the moment she stepped into the hall, framed by towering chandeliers and centuries of royal history, it became instantly clear that this was not going to be an ordinary royal engagement. Catherine arrived not as a guest, but as the visual embodiment of modern monarchy, confident, commanding, and breathtakingly regal. She glided across the polished floors in a Jenny Packham creation that could only be described as a masterpiece of royal fashion design. The gown, a floor-length cascade of shimmering purple-blue sequins, was sculpted to her silhouette with precision. The color, a deep sapphire shade that shifted subtly under the warm banquet lighting, seemed chosen not merely for beauty, but for symbolism. The soft cape flowing behind her like liquid silk added an ethereal softness to the boldness of the sequins. Every step she took created a ripple of sparkle, a reminder that the Princess of Wales understands the power of a visually unforgettable moment. But, as extraordinary as the gown was, it was the tiara that turned the evening into history. In a dramatic royal fashion breakthrough, Catherine debuted Queen Victoria's Oriental Circlet Tiara, a monumental jewel rarely seen in public and never before worn by her. Crafted in 1853 by Prince Albert, who himself was born in Germany, the tiara represented more than heritage. Its reappearance at a banquet hosted in honor of German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier was a diplomatic gesture hidden in diamonds, a quiet nod to history, a whisper of connection between nations, and a tribute to the German-born prince who helped shape the early identity of the British monarchy. The tiara itself is a marvel of royal craftsmanship. 2,600 diamonds arranged in a commanding scalloped motif, accented with vivid rubies that catch the light in fiery flashes. Originally set with opals, the piece was later redesigned by Queen Alexandra to feature rubies instead. In its lifetime, the Oriental Circlet has been worn by some of the most influential women in British royal history. Queen Victoria wore it with sentimental pride. The Queen Mother wore it during the early 20th century. Queen Elizabeth II wore it only once in her 70-year reign during a 2005 state visit to Malta. And then it disappeared, locked away in the royal vaults for 2 decades, until tonight. As Catherine entered the hall wearing the legendary tiara, a wave of astonishment swept across the assembled guests. Royal watchers have described it as her most spectacular and unforgettable fashion moment since the height of Queen Elizabeth II's state visits. The princess paired the tiara with Queen Elizabeth II's diamond drop earrings and the Royal Victorian Order sash and star, creating a look that blended symbolism, tradition, and modern elegance with flawless precision. For royal observers, this moment marks a profound evolution in Catherine's journey since her marriage into the royal family in 2011. She has worn 5 major tiaras, each marking a new era of her public life. The Cartier halo tiara at her wedding symbolized innocence and a new beginning. The lotus flower tiara reflected her early years as a young royal. The Strathmore rose symbolized romance and heritage. Queen Mary's lover's knot, her most frequent choice, became a visual signature of her maturity and confidence. But Queen Victoria's Oriental Circlet is different. It is bold, historic, dramatic, the kind of tiara a future queen wears when she is ready to step into a new level of authority and presence. Tonight's moment also carries emotional weight for Catherine. Her last major tiara event before 2025 occurred during the French state visit in July 2024. It was her first tiara appearance after stepping back from public duties to undergo cancer treatment. Her presence tonight, stronger and more radiant than ever, represents not merely a return to her royal responsibilities, but a triumph, a reclaiming of her place on the world stage, a message that she is stepping forward with renewed strength, purpose, and confidence. Inside St. George's Hall, the atmosphere was one of grandeur rarely witnessed in the modern monarchy. The king and queen hosted approximately 160 distinguished guests, including senior political leaders, global dignitaries, international cultural icons, and prominent members of the British establishment. The hall, draped in red and gold, shimmered with reflections from polished silverware and historic crystal glass. Each place setting was arranged on priceless royal dinnerware, some pieces dating back generations, symbolizing not just luxury, but the continuity of British tradition. The menu itself was a work of art. Written entirely in French, as dictated by state banquet tradition, it showcased the finest ingredients prepared by the royal household's top culinary team. Courses were served with white-gloved precision, transforming the banquet into a living tableau, an elegant performance of coordination and ceremony. Every detail, from the floral arrangements to the orchestral selections, was designed to create a night that honored both diplomacy and heritage. But despite the grandeur of the evening, it was Catherine's presence that dominated every corner of the hall. Cameras flashed, guests paused mid-conversation, even seasoned royal watchers struggled to hide their awe. It wasn't only the brilliance of the tiara or the dazzling gown, it was the confidence in her stride, the poise in her posture, and the unmistakable message carried in her appearance. Catherine was stepping fully into her role as the future queen consort of the United Kingdom. Observers have described the moment as a visual declaration, subtle yet powerful. She embodied the perfect balance of tradition and modernity. She respected history without being overshadowed by it. She honored symbolism while expressing her own evolving identity. This is precisely what makes Catherine such a compelling figure. Her ability to communicate meaning, emotion, and authority through style without uttering a single word. As the banquet continued, Catherine was seen engaging warmly with guests, her presence lighting up the atmosphere with grace and approachability. Her genuine smile, her attentive listening, and her polished conversational style reaffirmed her reputation as one of the most influential diplomatic assets within the royal family. But ultimately, the night will be remembered for the tiara, its unprecedented reemergence, its historic resonance, and its flawless pairing with Catherine's modern elegance. Analysts have already begun discussing the significance of the Oriental Circlet's return, debating whether this marks a new era of royal jewel usage and whether Catherine might continue to explore the deeper vaults of the royal collection as she moves closer to becoming queen. By the time the banquet drew to a close, one truth had become undeniable. Princess Catherine had delivered the most captivating royal fashion moment of 2025. Her appearance was not merely beautiful, but intentional, symbolic, historically grounded, and strategically brilliant. This was a moment that will be remembered, analyzed, and celebrated for years to come. The future queen consort did not just wear a tiara. She made history sparkle.